Yeah, so hi all, very good evening. Um, can everyone hear me properly? Can we just confirm that once? And is my screen visible? Uh, okay, thanks for confirming that. Okay, so let me just start by introducing myself and how this live sessions are going to be conducted. So I am Ritwis. I am a PhD student here at IIT Madras, and as part of my fellowship, I am conducting these live sessions for this particular course, which we have enrolled for, and it's called Artificial Intelligence, Knowledge Representation, and Reasoning. So just to start out, I want to tell all of you that all the material for which whatever slides and questions I will be using in this course will all be made available to you in time. Okay, so this is just the first week, so things are still setting up from the side of NPTEL and from my side, so it may take a while, maybe a week or so, but after a week or so I think things are supposed to get finalized and settled. So you will have access to all these slides. All these live sessions will be recorded and uploaded on YouTube for your ready reference. The links will be shared with you once the videos are uploaded online. So it's okay even if this time doesn't really work out for you every week. You can go back to the videos once they are uploaded and refer to that whenever you find time convenient. So about the structure of the live session, so the way I have been conducting them previously and other scholars are doing for different courses as well, is that this will just be an addition to the regular course videos that you have. Okay, when I say addition, it means that for knowing the content of the course or about learning the topics in the course, I would highly encourage you to watch the course videos by professors. Okay, in our course it's Professor Deepak Kimani, so go watch the videos. If you want to see refer a book, you can refer to a book. In addition to that, what we are going to do in these live sessions is we are going to take up the topics that were covered in a particular week, let's say week 1 or week 2, and we are going to discuss some problems related to that particular topic that was covered in that week. Okay, so that the aim of these question solving or problem solving is that it may help you to solve your assignments for each of the week, right? So each week you'll have to submit an assignment on NPTEL, and what we'll try to do is we'll try to keep these questions that we discuss in these live sessions to be very similar to the ones that you might face in the assignments and eventually in the exam. So that's what the aim or objective of these live sessions is. Also you can get your doubts clarified through those questions if any. Some things that I want to share that I don't know about, that so that I can't help you about it if you have any doubts with respect to it, are the logistics of the course. Okay, so any doubts you have related to the exam date or registration or how to register for the certificate or things like that, or even things like late submission of assignment or questions if there's any error in the assignments in the NPTEL portal and all that, unfortunately I won't be able to handle that because I don't have access to those logistics, right? So for those queries I would direct you to the discussion forum on the Swayam portal. So let me just show it to you. So this is what the Swayam portal will look like if you have a look at it when you log in. So here you'll notice the assignments. You'll have all the different week videos and per week assignments and the practice assignments. And if you go to this ask a question tab, if you click on it, it will lead you to a Google group, which is a discussion forum where you can post your general doubts and all your logistical queries about the course. So there, the main TA for the course, Bhaskaran sir, he is going to address all of those queries. Okay, so before we start out for this week's questions, do you all have any questions that you would, or any doubts or any clarifications about this live session that you would like to share with me, or your expectations or anything that you would like to share? Okay, so there's a question from Nikhil. Will there be any practical programming assignments or content from your side where we can try the course concepts out? No, Nikhil. So this course in general doesn't have any programming component, but So the most of this course is a bit theoretical, I would say. So there won't be any practical or programming assignments per se, but we'll try to, in some weeks, relate the content covered to some real world scenarios, so that you can have some correlation with what happens in real world and what you're learning in the course. But yeah, to answer your question specifically, no, there won't be any programming assignments. Yes, we know the recordings will be made available to all of you who are registered for the course, not only to the ones who are attending the session, but to everyone who is registered for the course, irrespective of whether you are able to join the meet or not. It will be made available in time, and it will be made available through the NPTEL portal itself. So you don't need to worry about it. Yeah, so like I said, Manasa, this queries about certificate and all is something that I cannot answer. Unfortunately, that's not in my domain. Uh, Again, Lavanya, I cannot answer about the exam, whether it's subjective or objective. That is also not in my hands. All these queries should be directed to the discussion forum that I just showed. Can you point us to any platforms where we can test the concepts out along the way? I will try my best, Nikhil. If I can find some interesting places where you can try out things yourself, then I will surely direct you to that. But in general, I don't think there is much to explore that way. Like I said, it's the course is a bit theoretical, but yeah, if I find something that I think will be useful for you, I will for sure share it. Also, if you find something, please feel free to share it with all of us in the either in the live session or in the discussion forum. Cool. Thanks for your questions. So Akash, I don't have any restrictions on people who can join the live sessions. If you are registered for the course, you can join the live sessions as and when they happen. Regarding joining the course officially on Swayam or NPTEL, that you have to do officially through the website. So that again, I cannot help you with that. That you'll have to do yourself. Yeah, like I said, Manasa, these exam related queries, fees, and all that is not in my domain, unfortunately. So you have to go to the discussion forum for that. Okay, so let's start out with today's content. So if you might notice over here, the date in this slide is from last year. So that's not an error. That's purposefully. I'm just reusing the slides that I used last year. The same questions. Again, all these questions will be made available to you as in due course of time. So don't worry about it. But for this live session, since this is only the first one, we'll discuss some questions based on week 0, the prerequisites, and some of these basic concepts from week 1. Okay, so but as the weeks progress, we'll frame the questions to be more specific to that particular week's content. And yeah, in general, if you ever feel like speaking up or just writing down what you want to write in the chat box, please feel free to do that at any point during the live session. Okay. Yeah, what is the procedure for submitting assignment? That you'll have to do on the NPTEL portal, right? So that I can show you because I am also registered for the course as a student, just so that I am aware of all the assignments and the announcement that are made for you guys, and I can cater or frame my questions to be specific to those things. So if you go to this week 1 assignment, and each week will have an assignment over here, right, as quiz. So these are these kinds of questions that you have to select your answers, and then you have to submit your answer over here. You can submit as many number of times as you want before the due date. Okay, so every assignment will have a due date. Please be aware of that and submit your assignments in due course, in the correct time frame, so that once the due date passes, you won't be allowed to resubmit it. Okay, so just make sure that you submit it all on time. I hope that addresses your query. So alright, without further ado, let's get started with the questions for today. So like I said, these will be some basic questions. Okay, and I'll be more than happy to have these live sessions to be interactive. You can feel free to either speak up or write in the chat box, whichever you feel comfortable with. Let's start with some basic questions. Okay, so the first question is that you are given this statement: all actors are singers, and the second statement is Irfan is an actor. So given these two facts, or given these two statements, can we conclude anything about the singing ability of Irfan? So what do you all think? Okay, so we have a few answers in the chat box, and all of you say that yes, we can conclude that Irfan is a singer, and that makes sense, right? Because we are given two statements. Let's look at them independently. The first statement tells us that all actors are singers. So let's consider any person in the world. Let's say the person is X. Okay, if X is an actor, then this implies that X is also a singer. This is what the first sentence over here is telling us, right? So if I have to frame this in terms of the concept that you are going to learn in the course, maybe in the coming weeks, is that this is an implication, right? All actors, actor implies singer. Okay, so that is the formal way to put it. And the second statement says that Irfan is an actor. Irfan is a person X whose name is Irfan, and that person X is an actor. So because we are already having this implication, we can say that actor is a singer, and hence Irfan is also a singer. So yes, the answer will be yes, which all of you got it, and that's great. I hope there are no doubts about this question. If there are, please feel free to stop me. Okay, so if you notice here, the flow of information was from actors to singers, right? We knew that if a person is an actor, that person will be a singer, but we don't know anything specifically about the opposite direction. If a person is a singer, can we say with certainty that that person will be an actor? What do you think? No, we can't, right? Yeah, because there is a possibility there. If a person is a singer, that person may or may not be an actor. Okay, that person may be an actor or maybe someone who is not an actor, right? So we can't say for sure, we can't conclude with proof that a person is a singer is a proof of a person being an actor. And that is precisely what our next question is about, right? This says that all actors are singers. It is given to us. Given the fact that Irfan is a singer, what can you infer? So which option here would be the perfect fit for this particular question? Okay, we have few suggestions. Some people say A, some people say B, some people say C. Okay, so let me tell you, only you can select only one of these options. Let's make that clear. Okay, if maybe you were asked to select multiple options, then different things could be your correct answer. Let's say that only you can select only one of these options, then option C will be the correct one, right? We cannot infer because both A and B could be a possibility. So the correct answer would be cannot infer, and that's great. And like we discussed, this gives us some intuition on whether we can infer something, infer an antecedent from the consequent. Okay, so antecedent and consequent are basically these formal terms for referring to the terms that are occurring in the flow of information that I said, right? So the statement that we were told, all actors are singers. Here, actors, an actor being a singer is your antecedent, and Irfan is a singer, that is a consequent, right? Or Irfan is a singer is an antecedent, or Irfan being an actor is a consequent. But you cannot make a reduction for sure in the opposite direction. Okay, that's great. This was also pretty straightforward. Let's go to the next question. Alright, for this one I'll let you think for a while, okay, and then we'll discuss. This is also easy. You can, I know most of you can answer this, but let's say you want it, you take your time, okay? So basically I'll just go through the question. You're given 4 facts. Okay, the first fact is that one of Tinker, Tailor, Soldier or Spy is the culprit. Okay, the second fact is the culprit stole the document. The third fact is Tinker and Soldier did not steal the document, and the fourth statement is if Tailor or Spy is a culprit, then the document must be in Paris. And can we deduce that the document is in Paris? Can we say that the statement is true? And yes, one of you says, or two of you says that the answer is yes. Okay, there's more of you who says that the answer is yes. Yes, so all of you are correct. We can in fact say that the answer will be yes. And the reason for that is that again this follows a particular chain of flow of information, right? So if you look at the first information, we know that there are 4 types of people: this Tinker, Tailor, Soldier and Spy. And we know that one of them is the culprit. Okay, so we know that information. Now we know that the culprit has stolen a document. Okay, so that means either of Tinker, Tailor, Soldier or Spy has stolen a document. Now the third statement tells us that Tinker and Soldier have not stolen the document. Okay, so they are out of consideration. They are not the culprit. So Tinker and Soldier are out, and we know that Tailor or Spy is the culprit. And then the fourth statement tells us that if Tailor or Spy is the culprit, then the document must be in Paris. And we know for sure that Tailor or Spy is the culprit. Either of them is the culprit, so this part is true. And because this part is true, the then part also becomes true, which is that the document must be in Paris. Okay, pretty straightforward again. So yeah. Alright, so some people were waiting to be admitted. I have added all of them. Okay, I hope that helps. Alright, so now let's move on to the fourth question. Okay, so the next couple of questions will be based on this scenario that you are shown over here in this figure over here. Okay, which has certain green colored objects, certain blue colored objects and certain red colored objects. Okay, so the question is, the figure shows a world, a domain of interest that contains 10 objects, nothing more and nothing less. So let's say that all the information that you have about this particular world is confined to this setting that you are given, this image that you are given. Okay, you know nothing more and nothing less. Based on this, you have to answer the following questions. The first question is that which of the following statements are true? There is at least one blue object, there is at least one non-blue object, there is at least one non-yellow object, and there is at least one yellow object. So which of these do you think will be true? Okay, yeah, for this question you can select multiple options. That's right, I think most of you have got it. Yeah, so we can see for sure that there is at least one blue object. We see these blue spheres. There is at least one non-blue object. We have these green and red objects, so B is also true. And there is at least one non-yellow object, right? So all of these colors, green, blue and red, are non-yellow, so we can say that C is also true. But we cannot say that D is true because we don't have any yellow object in our figure over here. So A, B, C are true. Okay, again straightforward. Let's move ahead. Alright, again same setting. This time you have to identify, you have to answer a bit slightly different question. Which of the following statements are true? Okay, all objects are non-blue, all objects are blue, all objects are yellow, all objects are non-yellow. So which of these do you think will be true? Again, you can select multiple options. Alright, so I think again most of you have got it. Here only one of them is correct. Yeah, I think someone unmuted themselves. So if you have any question or doubt, please feel free to unmute yourself. But otherwise, if you don't have any doubt or question, please try to keep your microphone muted, because that will help me or help all of us with conducting the session in a correct way or a smooth way. Because later when we are uploading the recordings of these online, I think it will be also helpful for people who view over there, right? Um, yeah, just wanted to put that out. Um, so yeah, I think most of you have got it, and it's correct. Only D is the correct option over here, because A is incorrect, because all objects are non-blue is incorrect. We know there are some green and red objects. All objects are blue is also incorrect. Um, all objects are yellow is also incorrect, and only D is the correct option, because all of the objects shown over here in this figure are non-yellow. Cool. Let's move to the sixth question then. Alright, this time I won't go through the options. There are 6 of them. So yeah, I'll let you choose the correct ones from over here. You can take your time to go through the options and then maybe write your answers in the chat box. Okay, I think most of you are moving in the correct direction. Okay, let's have a look at the answer then. I think most of you have answered it already. The correct answer is A, B, C. Okay, so let's go over the options one by one. There is at least one green spherical object, which is true. We see one green sphere over here in the figure. There is at least one green non-spherical object. We see two non-spherical objects that are green over here, so B is also true. And there is at least one blue spherical object, which is also true, because we see all these small and big blue spheres in the figure, right? So A, B, C all are true, and D, E, F are not true, because we don't have any blue non-spherical object. We don't have any yellow objects at all. So E and F are wrong straight away. Okay, again straightforward. So let's move ahead to the next question. Again a similar kind of question, and I think most of you can answer this very quickly. So as many of you might have guessed already, here also A, B, C are the correct options, right? Some green objects are spherical, some green objects are non-spherical, some blue objects are spherical, and the rest of the options are incorrect. Okay, so the reason we discussed these questions was to familiarize yourself with the use of the terms some and all. Okay, so here some of these options were saying some of these things are so and so. Previous questions had options like all of these are so and so. Okay, so as you go into the course, you will be seeing more of these kind of things, and you will be putting all these things in a formal way, you know, in terms of a formal language. So yeah, so this is just a precursor to familiarize yourself with this so all and some kind of concepts or framing of facts or statements. Yeah, I think someone has raised their hand. Please feel free to speak up. You don't need to raise your hand every time you have a doubt. You can just unmute yourself and interrupt me anytime you want. And if the hand raises by mistake, then no issues. We can proceed further. Alright, let's move to the 8th question. Okay, so now we are done with the previous figure. Now we are at a different figure. Okay, So here we have three boxes, okay, that are kept in a certain order, and we know that the color of the box at the top is green. We know that the color of the box at the bottom is red, but we don't know the color of the middle box. Okay, so can we say, based on just the information in this figure, that a green block is directly on top of a non-green block? Think about it. Okay, so a lot of you say that option C is correct, which is cannot say, but I will urge you to think a bit more about it. Okay, so um, utilize the fact that you know. Okay, the fact that you know and the fact that you don't know. So what you know is the color of the top and the bottom box. What you don't know is the color of the middle box. So there can be two situations, right? Either the middle box is colored green, or it is colored not green, some color other than green, right? Let's consider these two situations one by one. Let's say the first box is green. Okay, then the middle box, which is green, is on top of a red box, which is at the bottom, right? So this condition is satisfied that a green block is directly on top of a non-green one. Okay, let's consider the second situation, where the middle box is not green, some other color, let's say blue. Okay, then also the condition is satisfied because the top box, which is green, that is directly on top of the middle box, which is not green, right? So in both cases, a green block or green box is directly on top of a non-green block. Okay, so the correct answer would be yes in this case. Was that clear? Are there any doubts about this question or this answer? Okay, that's great. Thanks for confirming, Sashi and Azad. Alright, if there are any doubts, please feel free to stop me and we can go back to this question. For now, let's move ahead to the ninth question, which is also a bit a different kind of question, but a good tricky question, I would say. So here you are given a statement: a barber is one who shaves all those and only those who do not shave themselves. Okay, so this is the definition of of a barber given to us as per this statement. Okay, so in these kind of situations, what you should do is that you forget any information about a real world entity like a barber or a human being that you may have yourselves based on your life experiences. Okay, so to answer this question, forget that you know what a barber is, just restrict your definition of a barber to what is given in this statement. Okay, so as per this statement, we are told that a barber is only that person that shaves all those and only those who do not shave themselves. Okay, so can this barber shave himself? That is the question. Okay, okay, so one of you says, Saloni says, can you repeat the answer and explanation of question number 8? Sure, we can go back to it. Let's go back to question 8 after we discuss the ninth question. Okay. Alright, so some of you say that it's yes, some of you say that it's no, some of you say that such a barber cannot exist. Okay, so again, I'll urge you to think a bit about it, and we can discuss this after a minute or so. Okay. Alright, so I think most of you have got it by this time. Yeah, I think the answer will be C. Such a barber cannot exist because this is a contradictory statement, right? So the definition of a barber is someone who shaves everyone and only everyone other than themselves. Okay, so the basic condition is, if for a barber to be a barber, that person should not shave himself or herself, right? So the question asks, does the barber shave himself? Okay, if a person shaves himself, then that person cannot be a barber by definition of the barber that is given to us, right? So it's a paradox over here, and the correct answer would be such a barber cannot even exist as per this definition that is given to us. Okay, so I'll let you chew on that for a while I address some question in the chat. I'm sorry, I'm not aware of any initiative by IIT Madras as such. There might be, but unfortunately I'm not aware about it. But you are welcome to visit the website and check it out if there is anything like that. Sure, Akash. Let's go over the solution once more. So basically, the definition that is given to us of a barber over here is that a person is a barber only when they do not shave themselves. Okay. So let's say person X. Okay, that person shaves person Y, person Z, person A, person B, but X does not shave himself. Only then person X can be called a barber. That is the condition that is given to us. Now, if the question that is asked to us is, does the barber shave himself? Okay, if the barber or the person X was to shave himself, then by definition of a barber, that person should not be a barber, right? That should just be another person, not a barber. So here you see the paradox over here, right? There's a contradiction. If a person shaves himself, then by definition that is given to us, that person is not a barber, right? So the question itself, does the barber shave himself? That question itself is contradictory. So such a barber cannot exist. I hope that addresses your query. Okay. And let's go back to the 8th question as per requested. Right, so this question basically asked us whether there is a green block directly on top of a non-green block. Okay, so we know the color of the top and the bottom boxes, right? We only don't know the color of the middle box. Okay, there can be two situations, okay, about the color of the middle box. Either the middle box can be green or the middle box can be non-green. Okay, let's consider these two situations one by one. If the middle block is green colored, okay, then because the middle block which is green colored is on top of the red block which is red colored, then the condition that there is a green block directly on top of a non-green block which is red block is satisfied, right? And in the second situation, if the middle block is non-green, some other color, red, blue, black, whatever, just not green, then the top box which is green will be directly on top of the middle box which is not green, right? So again the condition is satisfied. There is a green block directly on top of a non-green one, so that condition will always be satisfied irrespective of the color of the green block, color of the middle block, sorry, right? So we can say that the statement is true. Okay, so let's go over the barber explanation once more. Okay, as per Balaji's request. So again, the definition of a barber that is given to you. Okay, forget about what a barber is in real life. Okay, that's a different topic. Okay, here we are only concerned with the information that is given to us. A person X, okay, let's say the person's name is X. This person can be categorized as a barber only if X shaves all other people except himself. Okay, if X shaves himself, that person cannot be called a barber. That is what is told to us, given to us. The question asks, does the barber shave himself? Okay, this question itself is incorrect or contradictory, because If a person shaves himself, we cannot call that person a barber by definition of a barber that is given to us. Okay, that's why we are saying that option C is incorrect. Option C is correct, sorry. Yeah. Okay, that's great. So I hope that addresses your doubts about questions 8 and 9, and we can move ahead to question 10 now. Alright, so now we are given a set of facts. Okay, the first fact is birds fly. Okay, this is the first fact. Second fact is penguins are birds. Third fact is penguins don't fly. And fourth fact is Tweety is a bird. Okay, now assuming we got the first question right. Okay, remember the question about actors and singers, and Irfan being an actor, hence Irfan being a singer. By seeing these two conditions, birds fly and Tweety is a bird. Okay, based on these two, we are likely to think that Tweety flies will be a logical conclusion, right? Now, what if we add an additional fact to our set of statements? We also add that Tweety is a penguin. Okay, and we are also told that penguins don't fly, and we are also told that penguins are birds. Okay, so now what can you say about whether Tweety can fly or not? So there's a question about some yellow objects being a polygon. I don't think I included any question about being a polygon in this particular set of questions. Are you referring to some questions that are there in the Swayam portal? Alright. So in that case, what we can do is let's discuss the questions that are here in the slides first, and then if we have time remaining today, we can discuss it today itself, or we can discuss it in the next live session. Okay, yeah, no worries. You can join at any time. It's comfortable for you. Okay, let's get back to this 10th question over here. So okay, right. So here the correct answer would be Tweety does not fly. And the reason we can make this conclusion, and we are not going with the third option, which is cannot infer, is because of the additional fact about penguins not flying. Okay, so see, again there's a chain of logic or information flow over here. Okay, based on the facts that birds fly and Tweety is a bird, a logical conclusion would be that Tweety flies. But this is a generalization we are making. Okay, there is an exception to this general case, which is supported by these three facts, which is penguins are also birds, but penguins don't fly, and we know that Tweety is a penguin. Okay, so although by our logical conclusion, if anything that is a bird should fly, but there is an exception to it as per the facts given to us, that if that bird is a penguin, then that bird will not fly. Okay, just because of this additional fact given to us, we can conclude with confidence that Tweety does not fly. Okay, so the point of this question is to make you aware that addition or removal of certain facts can change the way you conclude something. That's a good question, Jay, where Jay asks, what if we remove that fact? Okay, if we remove the fact that Tweety is a penguin, okay, then we cannot say for sure whether Tweety can fly or not. Okay, because we don't know whether Tweety is a penguin or not. Then we'll have to go with either the generalization case and allow that scope of error in our conclusion, where we say that okay, Tweety flies, but there is a possibility that Tweety cannot fly if Tweety happens to be a penguin. Okay, so we cannot say for sure. In that case, we would have gone with this third option. But since we are given that Tweety is a penguin, we can say for sure that Tweety does not fly. Okay, does that answer your question, Jay? Cool. All right, any further doubts about this particular answer or question? Okay, that's great. Let's move ahead with the next question then. Okay, so it seems we are done with the week 0 questions, and now we'll be moving on to the week 1 questions. Okay, so week 0 was supposed to just give you a flavor of the kind of logical reasoning that, or the kind of logical reasoning and the kind of um, applications of those kind of logical reasoning that you might encounter in this course in the coming weeks. Okay, the examples we considered are very simple, very basic examples, but you can also apply this in real world for a more bigger task or bigger conclusion frameworks. Okay, here we had only few facts, 3-4 facts, right? Let's say you have some 100 set of facts and you want to make a conclusion based on that, right? You can utilize some of the methods that we're going to cover in the rest of the course and apply that to solve your problems or answer your questions. Okay, but that comes later, and for now let's come back to week 1 questions, and I see some of you are already answering it. So the question is, this is a recall based question. Okay, this is a category of questions that I think you should be familiar with. So there are some questions that are conceptual questions, right? You learn a concept in the course, you understand it, and then you answer it based on your understanding of the concept. That is a different kind of question. There are some questions that require you to remember certain facts from the course. Okay, and this is one such question. You might expect some questions like this in your assignment and in the final exam, where you have to remember certain important facts that you learned in the course. Okay, so this is a recall based question, and the question is, in AI and the intelligent system is which of the following? And I think all of you say that option B is correct, and let's have a look. It is in fact correct. The other statements don't seem to make sense in our context, in the context of AI or artificial intelligence. An AI is, an intelligent agent is an autonomous, persistent, goal-directed program. Okay, the formal definition that might have been covered by Professor Kimani in the course, and the other statements don't seem to apply over here, so they are incorrect. Simple, straightforward question. Okay, let's move ahead to the 12th question. Okay, now you are asked about the different kinds of reasoning that you could do. Okay, so some you already saw a few different kinds of reasoning that we did. Okay, remember I mentioned generalizing something, or or making possibilities about some deductions, or deducing something with 100% confidence, right? So there are different ways of deducing things, different styles of deducing things, and you have to select among these 6 options or 5 options which of these are valid ways of reasoning. Okay, so I'll let you go through the options and then you can share your answers in the chat box, and we can discuss it after a gap of a break of a minute or so. Alright, I think most of you have already answered it. Okay, so let's look at the correct options, and the correct ones are B, D, and E, as you said. Okay, so A is obviously not a correct answer. Pleading with an instructor about your quiz marks could be a kind of reasoning, but not a valid kind of reasoning that we are concerned with in this course. So, okay. Option B is making valid arguments about using deduction. Okay, so this is the kind of reasoning that we were doing earlier on. Okay, when we have a set of facts and we use some logical framework to make certain deductions based on the set of facts given to us. Okay, that is normal deduction. Okay, again, C is not a valid form of reasoning. D is making plausible arguments using abduction. Okay, so when you are given some set of information, some set of facts, and you are making possibilities, okay, or you are expecting something based on those facts, but you don't have a sure shot confidence of telling that such and such facts will be true based on the facts I know. Okay, then we are extrapolating, and that is called abduction. Okay, and the third kind of reasoning is generalization or induction. Okay, that is the ETH option over here. An example of that could be something like we saw. Okay, all birds fly. Okay, this is a generalization, but we saw that there is an exception, that penguins don't fly. Another example could be all leaves are green. Okay, we can say that any leaf that we see is green in color. Okay, that is a generalization, but we know that there also exists some leaves which are red in color, yellow in color, right? So that is also a generalization over there. Okay, any doubts about the answers over here? Okay, that's great. Thanks, Frederick. Let's move ahead to the next question. Okay, so this kind of draws from the question that we just discussed. So expectations are, which of the following options are the correct definition of expectations, or are correctly related to expectations over here? Okay, so I see most of you are answering between A and D. Let's look at the answers. And all of you said A and D are correct. Both of these apply to expectations. Okay, expectations, like we discussed before, are involved in abductive reasoning from the domain knowledge. Okay, so if in case anyone doesn't know, domain basically refers to the set of facts that we have in our knowledge base, or the information that we have, right? That is the domain that we have, based on which we are making the different kinds of reasonings. Okay, and expectation involves abductive reasoning, and it also helps us process the incoming information more efficiently. Okay, that is the general statement for any kind of reasoning. And of course, B and C are not relevant or applicable in this particular case or question. So A and D are the correct options. Okay, so one thing I'll mention over here is, okay, so in these slides you can't see whether a question is a multiple choice question or a multiple select question. Okay, MCQ or MSQ. Okay, MCQ is where only one of the options is correct. MSQ is when multiple options can be correct. Okay, and in the assignments and in the quiz, that you will be told, okay, or that you will be able to infer based on the type of choices that are given to you. Okay, an MCQ will usually have a circle that you have to select from, and MSQ will have check boxes that you have to select. Okay, so be careful of that when you are answering questions in the assignments and the final exam. If it's a MCQ, you have to select only one option. If it's an MSQ, you have to select the correct options, all the correct options. Okay, otherwise you'll end up getting partial marks, or even if you select one incorrect option, you will end up getting 0 marks. Okay, so be careful about that when you answer in the quiz and the assignments. Alright, so let's move on to the next question then. Okay. So which of these are involved in case of an intelligent activity? What do you think? So again, these are some examples of some recall based questions. Okay, these are concepts you might have heard or taken notes on during the course lectures or course videos, and then you have to answer based on these. Okay, so most of you say A, C, and D, and most of you are correct. It's actually A, C, and D. So intelligent in activity involves perception. Okay, so we have to make sense of all the incoming signals, right? So till now we saw questions that were telling us the facts that we knew. Okay, but there might be a certain AI system, let's say a robot. Okay, you cannot always type in and give the information to that robot. Okay, that robot might have sensors, okay, based on which it will sense the signals around it itself, and it will add those information to its knowledge base. Okay, that is an example of perception. Or what we do, we have our eyes, we have our ears and nose and all those things, right? So we perceive things around us, and we make sense of the incoming signals. Then there is cognition. Okay, we use symbolic representations or symbols to represent the information that we have and to reason with it. Okay, an example could be something like we were discussing in our earlier questions when we were discussing the barber question. If you remember, we were saying that a person X is a barber when so and so happens. Okay, so we were using some symbol X to denote what a barber could refer to, or some symbols Y, Z, and A, B, C to denote other kinds of people, right? So that is symbolic representation, and then we'll be learning more of those things in the coming weeks. And we can also use planning, which is to make use of certain rules that we have or that we know, or certain reasoning frameworks that we will learn, and make decisions to based on the facts that we are given, and use those to do a certain chain of reasoning to arrive at a certain fact that will be our goal fact. Okay, so planning, cognition, and perception are what are involved in an intelligent activity. I hope that answers your doubts or questions, if any, about this question. All right. Yeah, so I see another hand raise. So there are two people who have raised their hands at the moment. You can feel free to type in the chat box or unmute yourself. You don't need to raise hands whenever you have a question. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There can be other mediums as well. That's a good point, and thank you for raising that. So symbols are something that are easily interpretable to us, right? So one of the earliest things or the foremost concepts that we're going to learn is for reasoning through these symbols, right? But as we move further into the course, we are going to use some other representation of facts as well. Okay, we'll learn about quantifiers, we'll learn about different kinds of formal languages that we can use to make knowledge representation and reasoning based on that representation efficient for us. Okay, that is what the title of this course is: knowledge representation and reasoning. But yeah, I won't get into the details of the different kinds of representations right now, but yeah, I can say for sure you will learn more than symbolic representations in this course. And thanks for raising that. Okay. All right. So Manasa, you had a question. You also have your hand raised. If not, that's fine. Maybe it was by mistake. Okay, let's move to the next question then. Okay. this is a slightly different kind of question, okay? And those of you who might be familiar with neural networks or machine learning or pattern recognition, uh, or might have read something about it, may be able to answer it easily, but that's okay. We will learn these things not in this course. We will touch upon it maybe in some parts of the course, but not in detail, okay? That's also something that has been raised in the previous live sessions, that whether we are going to cover concepts like ML and neural networks and such deep learning methods in this course, and the answer to that is no. We might touch upon some concepts like pattern recognition and all those things, but as such we are not going to cover deep learning and machine learning. For that, there are other courses on NPTEL that if you're interested, you might refer to those. Okay, so there was a request by Mansa to repeat question 12 again, so we'll do that maybe once after we discuss question 15, okay? Alright, so question 15 was labeling of images with names of objects in the scene, okay? So basically this is a particular problem setting in deep learning wherein you have a scene, okay, a video, or let's say a certain frame of a video, okay? That is basically an image that has certain objects in it, okay? Let's say there's a person in the image, there's a dog in the image, there's a sofa in the image, okay? And what a model has to do, it has to go through the image. An image is basically what? A matrix, right? A matrix of values, right? It has to go through that, and it has to identify objects based on the training that it has been given, okay? There are some terms that I use like training and model and all those things. If you're not familiar with this, don't worry about it. It's okay. Basically what the model is trying to do is it is trying to recognize patterns and make inferences based on that, and so this is also reasoning, okay? Now you have to select which of these options are correct in context of this particular problem, labeling of images with names of objects. Okay, so before we discuss the solution, then there's just one request by Sundaram. Let me just address that. So it's okay, Sundaram, if you were not able to join in the initial phase, that's fine. Since questions 1 to 7 are a big chunk of questions, I would say you can also refer back to the recorded video later on, okay? If we have time remaining and energy remaining, we can go through questions 1 to 7 again, no problem with that. But a general solution to these situations where you missed a certain part of the live session is that you can always refer back to the recording, okay? There you'll have access to all the questions and all the discussions we made, and whenever you are able to join the live session, you can focus on the current question that is being discussed. Sure, thanks for your question as well. And okay, so to answer this particular question 15, so a number of you have selected or answered it as A, B, C, and different combinations of these particular options. Okay, so here's where the knowledge about deep learning comes useful, is that these specific kind of problems are better dealt with some specific models like neural networks, okay? Our usual logical reasoning frameworks, although theoretically they can be applied, but practically it doesn't make sense to use logical reasoning, right, to deduce or to solve such problems, because the data at hand is such large or such huge, and recognizing the patterns is so difficult that it is difficult to put it in terms of a logical reasoning, a standard logical reasoning framework, right? That's why option C doesn't apply over here, but options A and B are correct, and obviously option D is incorrect. Okay, so it's okay if you're unfamiliar with deep learning. It's also good if you're familiar with deep learning. You don't need to worry about it. This is just something that professor might have touched upon one of the initial course videos, so we have just included this, but you don't need to worry about it. Okay, so before we move on to the rest of the questions, let's go back to question 12. So this just involved discussing different kinds of reasoning, right? So like I said, one kind of reasoning is deduction. Okay, another kind of where the deduction is the kind of reasoning where you have a set of facts, you have certain set of reasoning framework, and use that to deduce certain facts from the set of facts you already knew. Okay, standard deduction. Another kind of reasoning is abduction, where based on the set of facts you have, you make some possibilities. Okay, you draw some expectations. Okay, an example could be, uh, you are given the fact that it is cloudy today. Okay, this is the only fact that you are given. You now make an assumption, you hypothesize, you expect that it will rain today. Okay, but you don't know for sure, right? This is an example of an abductive reasoning. Okay, if your set of facts also had that along with today is cloudy, whenever it is cloudy it rains, then you can straight away say that it will rain today, and that will be an example of deductive reasoning, not abduction. Okay, so here you notice the different kinds of reasoning. And the third kind of reasoning is induction, where we generalize concepts. Okay, so this an example of this would be like I discussed, all leaves are green. Okay, let's say that um, a person is holding a leaf is green in color. Okay, so based on this you are saying that okay, all leaves that could ever exist are green in color. That is a generalization. Okay, I do agree, if you have similar, if you some of you might have similar doubts, that there seems to be some kind of an overlap between these different kinds of reasoning. That is true. Okay, but this is just a different this is a way to categorize different specific kinds of reasoning. Okay, just for the sake of formality. So I hope that clears any doubts that were there about the 12th question. And let's go back to the next question, which was question 16, if I remember correctly. Okay, so now we enter a different kind of realm of questions, which is about the Vinograd schema. Okay, so this is again a sort of I would say this question is at the interface of recall based and conceptual questions. So basically it is the Vinograd schema involves presenting a sentence to the user and asking a question. Okay, now you have to identify among these options that are given to you which of these apply to this setting of a Vinograd schema question answering. It's okay if you have not yet been able to watch the week 1 videos. I think once you watch it, if you're unfamiliar with what Vinograd schema is, you'll become familiar with it. Or when we discuss the next question, or question 17, you'll also see an example of the kind of question answering we do in Vinograd schema. Okay, so for now let's concentrate on question 16, and which of these options do you think would apply in this case? Option or options? Okay, I'll let you think on it for a while I take a minute's break. Okay, so I think many of you have answered in the chat box, and yeah, like I said before, there can be multiple options that are correct over here, and I think most of you have gotten the correct ones, so that you might have selected only one of them, so that's fine. Let's look at the correct options. The correct options in this case would be A, C and D. Okay, so the usual framework is that uh, you are presented with a sentence to the user and you ask a question. Okay, and that sentence is chosen from one of two sentences and with only one word changed. Okay, then you ask a question which gives us two options for the answer, and we also do something called anaphora resolution. Okay, what that is exactly will become clear when we discuss the next question, when we see an example of that resolution, anaphora resolution. Okay, so let's move ahead and go to the next question. So this is an example that I was talking about. Okay, so you are given a sentence: the trophy would not fit in the brown suitcase because it was too small. Okay, so this is the sentence that is given to you: the trophy would not fit in the brown suitcase because it was too small. Okay, now which of these could be the Vinograd schema questions that you are going to ask? Okay, see, there can be two possibilities associated with a certain word in this sentence. Okay, I'm giving you a hint over here. That's right, correctly answered, Varun. It is D. You can ask, what does this particular it refer to in the sentence? Okay, there can be two possibilities. You could read this sentence to mean that the trophy would not fit in the brown suitcase because the brown suitcase was too small. Right? This can be one possible interpretation. Another interpretation could be that trophy would not fit in the brown suitcase because it was too small. The trophy was too small. Okay, this could be another interpretation. We know that it is wrong, it is not making sense. If a trophy is small, it should fit into the suitcase, right? But there can be two possible interpretations of it, right? So this is a kind of an example of the question that you might ask. Okay, and resolving that kind of a duality or dual answer kind of situation is what we call anaphora resolution. Sure, Priyanka. We'll go to the 16th question. The answers for them were A, C, and D. Okay, cool. So now let's go to an example of okay. So we don't have any more anaphora resolution over here, but that might be in the coming weeks. Okay, so there you will have questions on anaphora resolutions soon. So don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. So what is a domain in a logic? Again, a recall-based question. Sure. As per two requests in the chat, we can discuss question 17 again. Let's discuss question 18 because we're already on it, and then we'll go back to question 17. Alright. So, what is a domain in logic? Which of these options do you think works best? Okay, I see multiple options or answers over here, and the correct answers over here are A and B. So a domain is a universe of discourse, a different name for domain. A set of individuals a logic language can talk about. Um, okay, this might not be entirely correct. Okay, so here it's given a set of individuals. It would have been better if it was named a set of entities a logic language can talk about. Then it would be correct to say that it's right. But yeah, maybe this is not entirely correct to label it as true. Okay. An area of expert of logicians is not also entirely correct, because domain is just a small a subset of a concept in logic, right? It's not an area of expertise per se. Okay, so both C and D are incorrect. And yeah, so just remember this point about option B that I just mentioned. It seems correct, but the option could have been framed in a better way. Okay, let's go back to question 17 once more. Okay, given the sentence, the trophy would not fit in the brown suitcase because it was too small. Okay, here a traditional setting or traditional Vinograd schema question will be, given the sentence, what could this word it refer to, right? It could refer to either the brown suitcase or the trophy itself, right? And we can interpret the sentence in two different ways based on how we, or which word or which phrase we associated the word it with. Okay, if I have to give another simpler example to you, let's say I have a sentence, Ram crossed Lakshman because he was running too fast. Okay, now who was running too fast in this case? What do you think would be the answer? Ram crossed Lakshman because he was running too fast. Ram, right? He refers to Ram because he was running too fast. Suppose you change the word fast with slow. Okay, now the sentence is, Ram crossed Lakshman because he was running too slow. Now what would he refer to? Lakshman, right? So that is what a Vinograd schema is. You change one word in the sentence and then one specific word in the sentence, which was he in the example that I said, and it over here, that changes what it is referring to based on that one word that we changed. In this example, it would be, if we change small to big, okay, the trophy would not fit in the brown suitcase because it was too big. Then what was too big? The trophy was too big, right? And when it remains small, the trophy would not fit in the brown suitcase because it was too small. What was too small? The suitcase was too small. Okay, this is an example of anaphora resolution, and this is an example of a traditional Vinograd schema question answering setting. Does that address your doubts? Okay, that's great. Okay, then let's go to the next question, which is question 19. Again, a recall based question. What is situational knowledge? Again, if you're not familiar with what situational knowledge is, it's fine. We will cover it in due course of time in the course. Okay, these are just introductory concepts and questions because it's just the first week, right? So it's okay if you're not familiar. You will get familiar with it eventually. Yeah, there's a hand raise. Sarvanan, you raised your hand. Please feel free to unmute yourself and speak up. You can also type in the chat box if you feel comfortable with that, or if it was by mistake, that's okay, no problem. Okay, this particular question you mean? Sure, I'll repeat it. So here this question basically asks you, situational knowledge is, and which of these four options suit the definition of a situational knowledge. Okay. What I was saying in addition to the question is that it's okay if you're not familiar with what situational knowledge means as of now. Okay, because it's just the introductory week and the first live session. It might be possible that some of you have not been able to watch all the videos, right? So it's okay if that is the case. It's also great if you have already watched it and you know what situational knowledge is. Eventually in the course you will learn about what situational knowledge refers to. That's what I was telling. And as some of you already answered, situational knowledge is, all of these are correct. Okay, situational knowledge is the knowledge of stereotypical situations in the world. Okay, so you're given a situation. Okay, and the stereotypical facts or statements associated with that situation is what will form a situational knowledge. Okay, this could include things like, given it is cloudy, it is possible that it will rain. Okay, so given that it is cloudy, a stereotypical knowledge, situational knowledge, is that it will rain. Okay, it is represented in scripts or frames as defined by Roger Schank or Marvin Minsky. These are famous AI researchers. It's okay if you're not familiar with what script and frame are. You will learn it later in the course. And it is a useful tool in understanding events using abductive reasoning. Okay, so all of these are correct options. Alright, I hope that there's no doubt in this question. Okay, so we are done with week 1 questions as well. I do have some week 2 questions, but I don't want to discuss it as of now because I think that might be too much of questions for you all today. Can anyone tell me what is the deadline for the assignment of week 2? 7th. Okay, both are at 7th, right? And the next day we are meeting is on 6th, right? We are meeting on 6th next. So every Tuesday we will have a live session, right? That makes sense. So what we can do is we can cover week 2 questions on 6th, because then it will be more recent for you and you might be able to that might suit you better. Yes, Nikhil, I'm going to share all these slides with you. That has to be done through the I will do that through the NPTEL team. Okay, so I have already shared all the resources that I have with the NPTEL team, and they are supposed to post it on the NPTEL website sooner or later. Okay, so yeah, it will all be shared with you eventually. Maybe for the first week there might be some delays. Okay, because of setting things up. Okay, but eventually yes, it will all be settled down. Balaji, it will be shared with all the participants of the course. Okay, what will happen is, I'll show you over here. So this was an example of the assignment at first that I was showing, right, that you have to answer. So here you have different sections, right? You have about NPTEL, prerequisite, week 1, week 2, download videos, test transcripts, books and all that. So soon in a matter of a few days or a week maybe, there will be another section added over here that will say problem solving sessions or live sessions. Okay, and once you click on that section, that will give you a link to a Google Sheet. Okay, that Google Sheet will contain links to the recorded videos on YouTube. It will also contain the link to the Drive folder, Google Drive folder, that will contain all the slides, not just for this week, for all the upcoming weeks. So if you want, you can prepare yourself in advance as well. Yeah, that's what I was showing you initially. Thanks for that question. So if you go to this ask a question link over here, right, and just click on it and show it to you. Okay, so if you click on it, you will be led to this discussion forum on AI KRR. Okay, artificial intelligence, knowledge representation and reasoning. And here you can post any doubts you have about the course, about the exams, about the assignments, even about the live sessions. Okay, if there is a doubt about the live sessions, I will address that. If there is any other doubt, that will be addressed by Bhaskaran sir, who is the main TA for this course. Okay, Bhaskaran S. He will be addressing the all other relevant doubts. So this is where you can go to for your doubts. Some people have already posted things over here. You can also go through them to see if someone has already covered some doubt that you could have. Okay, so these are the two official methods where you could discuss your doubts. Okay, either in the live session or in the discussion forum. I'm sure there will be some unofficial mediums as well, like WhatsApp or other discussion forums, Google groups. I will say join those mediums at your own risk. Okay, because those are not official mediums. They are not being monitored by an official body like NPTEL, right? So if you want to join, you are free to join it. Otherwise, you already have the official mediums of communication and discussions. Okay. Okay, my email ID. So I would again prefer to communicate through the discussion forum. Okay, because if you have a doubt, let's say you email it to me and I address it, it might be the case that 5 other people or 10 other people are also having the same doubt, right? So it's better if you post your doubt on the discussion forum that I just showed, and if I can address it there or Bhaskaran sir can address it there, it will be resolved for you also and other colleagues of yours who also have the same doubts, right? So that will be helpful to all. That's why I will prefer that medium for communication rather than one-to-one email correspondence. Okay. All right, so I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the individual who had requested to go over questions 1 to 7 once more. If you're still around, can you give me a heads up? Sundaram, yeah, thanks. I'm sorry, I forgot. So yeah, we can go over questions 1 to 7 quickly right now, and if you're still around for some time, otherwise, okay. So we can just quickly go through it right now. Otherwise, you can feel free to go refer to the recordings also later on. Before that, I'll just address one question by Shaurya. What will be the level of course throughout? So Shaurya, as you see that today's questions were very basic, I would say. I think you might have also felt the same. There will be some basic questions throughout for all weeks, okay? But there might be some new concepts that you encounter as you go through the course, okay? Maybe in the middle of the course or towards the end of the course, right? Just because that these concepts might be a bit new to you, grasping them might take some time, okay? But otherwise, answering questions will, I think, always be basic and easy, okay? So it's just that the familiarity with the concepts might take some time for people to understand. I experienced that when I took the course. It might even be possible that is not the case for everyone or for you, right? So that's even better. But yeah, that's a general trend that I have observed. Cool. Sure, Saloni, we can do that. We can go over the polygon question also, but let's first revisit the questions 1 to 7. Okay. Yeah, Manasa, you had a doubt? Okay, I'll wait for a while. In the meantime, let's go over questions 1 to 7 once more. Alright, so question 1 was, all actors are singers. Okay, this is one fact. Based on this and the fact that Irfan is a singer, can we conclude that, based on the fact that all actors are singers and Irfan is an actor, can we conclude that Irfan is a singer? And the answer was yes, we can conclude that Irfan is a singer. Okay, second question was, again, all actors are singers, but now we are told that Irfan is a singer. We are not told that Irfan is an actor. Okay, So if you have to represent this formally, you can say that actor implies singers, A implies S. Okay, Irfan is a singer. So you are given the given the later part of the framework that you just formed. Okay, A implies S, you are given S. Okay, based on S you cannot infer whether A is true or not with confidence. Okay, if you are given A, you could say that when A is true, A implies S, so S will always be true. Okay, so in this case all actors are singers, but just because a person is a singer, you cannot say that person is also an actor. Okay, so in this case you cannot infer. The third question is, you are given 4 facts. Based on these 4 facts, you have to follow a chain of reasoning and arrive at a conclusion whether document in Paris, this statement is true or not. Okay, and the statements are like, one of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy is the culprit stole the document, so you know that either of these 4 people stole the document. The third fact tells you that Tinker and Soldier did not steal the document, so they are out of consideration. So we know that Tailor or Spy stole the document and they are the culprit, one of them is the culprit. And based on that, the fourth fact, we can say that if either Tailor or Spy is the culprit, then the document must be in Paris. So this is again a simple implication, right? So because of this reasoning that we just did, we can say that the document is in Paris is true. This was the third question. The fourth to seventh questions were based on a set of reasonings based on this image that was given to you, containing some green objects, some red objects, and some blue objects. Okay, you are given a set of facts about statements about these things in the figure, and then you have to select whether they are true or false. Okay, I think it will be better if you go through it in time, because I think it will just be too repetitive if I say that. I can take one example and show you. Maybe the fifth one I can show you. Fifth one is a question that tells us we have to select the correct option or options from these 4 things given to you. All objects are non-blue. Okay, this is this correct or not? Okay, we know that there are some green objects which is non-blue, some red objects which are non-blue, but there are also some blue objects, right? So we cannot say that all objects are non-blue. All objects are blue is also incorrect, right? Because we know there are some green and red objects. All objects are yellow is also incorrect, because we know that there is no yellow object over here. But all objects are non-yellow, this is correct, right? Because we know that there are no yellow objects over here. So in this case option D will be correct. There are similar kinds of statements and you have to select the true ones from each of them. Okay, so I'll skip over the details and let's go over to the question about polygons that one of your colleagues was referring to. Was it in the prerequisite or some other week? Prerequisite. Okay, let's go over to the prerequisite then. Okay, which one was it? This one, is it? What else is true about polygons in the shape? Or is it question 6? Question 8. Okay. What else is true about the polygons in the shapes world in question 4? The question highlights an important difference between common sense interpretation and logical interpretation of a natural language sentence. Some yellow objects are polygons, all yellow objects are polygons, and none of the above. Ah, I see. Okay. Okay, so what I'll do is, so this might require a bit of further explanation going into the details of correctly framing sentences in formal terms. Okay, so I will postpone this discussion for this specific question to the next live session. Okay, because it will be better if I cover those things in the next week. That will make it easier for everyone to follow. Okay, so just remind me. I'll note it down anyway, but if I forget, just remind me again and we'll discuss this question in the live session next week. Okay, Alright, so that's it from my side for today. If you have any specific things, any doubts about the live session in general or the course that you would like to clear up right now, you can let me know, or else we can end the session today. Thank you, Jay, and thanks to you for attending and all your questions as well. Thank you all. Thank you all for your feedback and for attending the session. Then let's meet next week. And another thing, so since the sessions are being conducted on Tuesdays, and I think your assignment submissions are on Wednesday end of day deadlines, so I will try my best to get the recordings uploaded on YouTube by Tuesday night itself. But in some cases, if that is not possible, for sure by Wednesday morning you should have it available. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, cool. So yeah, Aryaman, yeah. Yeah, so that's a similar discussion we had a while back. So I will prefer if you post your queries that you want to post in the discussion forum of the course. If you have something that you that is specific to you, like not necessarily related to the course, if you want to ask for some advice or something, you can use this email ID that I'll prefer not to release it right now. Okay, I hope you understand. If you have something specific that you want to share with me, you can. Okay, I'll just share it. I think I'm just going back and forth, not a good look, but I'll just share my email. But please don't flood my email with emails. I request you for that. Okay, so this is my official email ID that I've shared with you. If you have any specific doubt, then you can write to me, or else if you have a general doubt about the course, then I would prefer you post it on the discussion forum. Okay, there I'll be able to address it, and it will also be readable to all other colleagues of yours who might have a similar or same doubt. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, anything else? Okay then. Okay then. Sure, your class timings will be the live session timings will be the same every week. Tuesday 6 to 8 is the slot that we have. Nitin, you will be shared. The NPTEL team will share the links to the videos with you. Okay. All right. So okay. Let's meet next week. See you all. SK, no, textbooks are not mandatory but recommended always. All right. See you next week.